Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to a well-furnished podcast.
Yes. Where we just scrambled for the last 40 minutes trying to get everything to work. Having not been here for 2 weeks, everything was in
And
a
you
state
went
of
away.
Great. No. Yes, I did. I didn't go away. Looks like your camera was unplugged. Why was my camera unplugged?
But you were just fidgeting around again.
Yeah. Huh. Camera was not unplugged. Oh boy. See what I mean?
So it's just me.
Oh yeah. It's just
There's
you.
just Robbie. Well,
Oh shoot. There we go. Now we have the microphone back. Oh my gosh. Well,
we'll keep with the dog.
I am going to keep doing this. We'll look at the dog for now. And
we'll tell you about our week.
Yeah.
It has been nothing but snow for the past 3 days. And I would say, judging by the amount of rain we got in town all summer, we've got a lot more snow to look forward to.
Oh my goodness. It is insane.
Yeah, a lot more. And I've always been the type that I prefer to shovel 1 foot of snow 3 times versus 3 feet of snow once. And after this morning's round of snow shoveling, I'm not sure. I don't know. I know I will not wait till it ends to start shoveling, though.
Yeah, right? No, I'm exactly.
Here's an extra 2 feet on top of my van.
No, we had a bunch of snow at our place too. And that was not fun. Not fun at all.
And my magic ankle was hurting just right on time, like it does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got hardware in the right ankle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm more accurate than Jackie Purcell.
So my dad actually just had surgery yesterday on his ankle. And so they did a complete rebuild, like
cadaver parts and
everything. So yeah, it was nuts. I'm still working on the camera here in the background, so
I have a friend of mine from Cincinnati. She's got a cadaver ankle.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And it was a pretty intense surgery putting it all in. Was held together with like this mesh net and just other things you'd had to go out and have taken out later.
Wow.
And mine hurts every now and then, certainly with the weather change. And I've asked about having them removed, but I'm not sure I want to be cut open again if I'm good enough to just leave it there.
Right.
I guess it'd have to like really start hurting me more. But with all the pain I have, every other day.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Still working on the camera. I just want to, hey, we're live.
We're doing it.
Confirming that we're live.
He's not a dog. He's a real person.
Yeah, I am a real person.
I was showing Jody, we were talking about the lawyer in, I think it was Texas, that had a kitten filter on his.
Oh my God, that was so funny. He's like,
I promise, Judge, I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat.
No one believes you're a cat. Things. Just turn the filter off.
Right. So
this is why you get your kids their own computer.
I have heard multiple people complaining about StreamYard this week. Like something's going on. Like I can see my camera is working just fine in my computer. There's no issues whatsoever with this. When
we get Rob the dog.
Yeah. Or let's see if we got another camera.
It's a nice green grass.
I think I got a crappy camera.
Crap camera.
Yeah. Crappy camera. But who knows if this will work? This is just doomed.
Well, it probably a hazard we take with the studio we set up every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think it's StreamYard because, like I said, I've heard multiple people having issues with StreamYard this week. Let's see if we can get this camera to work. Okay, let's see. Settings.
Any bets? Any bets? Magic 8 Ball says
No.
no.
Okay.
Signs point to unlikely.
I'm going to restart StreamYard, so I'm going to back out, and you're going to be here. You're going to have to turn your mic on, though.
All right. Well,
Well, hang on. Let me try. It says it's ready now. Let me try one more time. Yeah, nope. I'm going to have to just back out.
So we were discussing what we call our regular locals that here outside the store we have to deal with every now and then. At the other location, we call them Spinardies, but we're on the other side of fireweed now. So the new official term is fireweeders. Fireweeders. And that's not easiest word to say, but you'll get it as we say it more often. Got some fill there. What else?
Hey, there we go.
Hey, wait, Rob's back, I'm told.
All right. Mute that. I'm going to add me, and I'm back.
You're back.
Oh, my God.
That's a fabulous fire truck behind you.
You know,
We support first
that
responders.
thing is really cool. You know, I had a buddy that always asked me, he'd ask me multiple times, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I always had the same answer, a fire truck.
Fire
Not
truck.
a fire person, not a fireman. I wanted to be the fire truck.
I'd rather be the Dalmatian if I have to join the fire department.
Right. Oh, yeah, the Dalmatian, that would be cool.
Dogs seem to do fairly well.
Yeah, no, they got the best lives. I'd take it.
You know, speaking of fire department, I saw just a great white buffalo the other day. It was the fire department crew, and they're probably in their paramedic role. But it was, fire truck, a tanker. But one of the fire people was a white-haired lady. I mean, just she had to be in her 60s. And I'm thinking, it's not that often, at least in this city, we see female firefighters to begin with.
Right, yeah, no, exactly.
It's always firemen.
Right.
But here's some, gray-haired lady that I would imagine probably been doing this for a while.
On a truck, though. Like
On a crew, yeah.
Truck,
Yeah, no, she had her full ensemble on, and they were dealing with a car accident, but
right.
how have I not heard of this?
No, that's pretty wild, dude. But
But equal opportunity, they're allowed to apply.
yeah. It takes all kinds.
I just
It definitely
haven't
takes all
seen.
kinds now.
Like thinking back to even Fire Woman doesn't even sound right.
No.
There's that one song by The Cult, but
What's that?
Fire Woman.
Oh, is there a song by the fire?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
About 1989 or something like that.
So, yeah. So, I know you don't follow much college football.
I don't. There's too many schools.
There's a lot of schools.
I mean, you may not play each other in a decade.
Yeah.
So how do you know who's better than who with that kind of scale?
Well, they are. So next year they're expanding the playoffs to 8 teams. 8 or 12.
How many are in the college playoffs now?
4. They pick the top 4.
Out of what divisions?
all of them. There's basically a group of people to get together and decide who the 4 are.
Out of like Pac-10, Big 12, yada yada.
All of the different things, yes. And so they basically like 24 and 25. Let's see. Just seeing what the expansion was. I'm trying to see. The 12. So they're expanding to a 12-team playoff. But the big news in college football, which is pretty huge news.
Harbaugh got suspended?
Oh. Okay, so I am an Ohio State person. I was born an Ohio State fan.
Yeah.
It is in your blood from when you are born. And Michigan week is like, if you're in Ohio, there's nothing like the week that...
You don't even say anything with the letter M.
You correct. In fact, my dad moved to Michigan Avenue. So that one time we went, me and a friend of mine who is a big Michigan fan and worked for me at the time. I set a goal at the beginning of the year. I said, if we hit this goal, then we'll go to the Michigan Ohio State game and I'll pay for it, right? And we did. We hit that goal, so we went. And he laughed because we lived on Michigan Street, or my dad lived on Michigan Avenue. So, but
why is that avenue even in the state of Ohio?
Yeah, it's interesting that they did it. But the Big Ten. So this is the Big Ten stepping up, and I don't know if you follow this or not, but what?
Not much past the headline.
So basically, I don't need those right now. Basically, what happens is there's no communicating between the quarterback and the coach. You know, in high school and in the NFL, a quarterback and a coach can talk, right? There is a...
You mean during the game?
Like there's two-way communication.
Oh, radio in the helmet.
Radio in the helmet.
Okay.
Sorry, I gotta grab it.
Well, some high schools, because some high schools don't have the budget.
I mean, if you've got like 7-on-7 football, you're not communicating. But like Texas, I bet you there's a whole lot of schools in Texas.
Well, I'll fully admit now, if you go back to my high school that I graduated from, they're playing on a much better field. Much better field.
Oh, yeah.
Than I played on.
Okay, so college, you cannot communicate with a radio to your quarterback.
So messenger guard or send your signals in?
So they have signals.
Yeah.
You've got guys on the sideline doing this. So you've got 4 people, usually 3 or 4 people that are sending in the signals. Only one of them is sending in the actual signal.
And one's a decoy.
And the others are decoys. There is a rule in college football. So everybody tries to steal everybody else's sign.
I thought that was part of the game.
Right. It's part of the game. It's what you do. There is another rule in college football. You cannot scout your upcoming opponents or potential upcoming opponents.
Really?
Okay. You cannot purposely.
Other than what you get on the tape.
Other than what you get on now. Coaches will send out coaches' tapes to each other. Right. And they'll share that. And you can get the tapes, but you cannot send personnel to a game of your upcoming opponents.
To sit across the sideline and just watch these guys.
Correct.
Okay.
So this person, Connor Stallions, I think is his name, from Michigan. He was a low level staffer, is what they called him.
You're not just gonna send some.
Somehow though he went to, let's see. All right, I gotta
racking up the frequent flyer miles.
Oh, he basically had legions of people going to different games. He was paying for the tickets. He was paying for the flight sometimes, but on a salary of like, $40,000 a year.
Well,
But
don't you
he
have
was
boosters in
sending
college?
people all around the country. Oh yeah. So he now he was a smart dude, right? Because he was take a look here. Connor Steins, he's a smart guy. So he's a retired captain in the United States Marine Corps, and I think he went to the Naval Academy. So, I mean, guy's got some brains. He developed this entire algorithm. So he would send people around. They would videotape the sidelines of his opponents. And then he knew exactly what they were going to call. And there's multiple pictures and multiple videos of him right next to either the camera a little bit, right next to the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator, watching the other person's sidelines and then telling them what they were calling. And most of the time he was spot on. He had sheets. He had these laminated sheets that he would roll through.
But it sounds like so far the crime is the prep work.
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much the stealing of the signs. It was the prep work. So there's been a lot of, I've kind of followed this online, and there's been I am going to preface this whole thing with I am 100% biased because I cannot stand Michigan. I hate everything about Michigan. I do. I hate their governor.
I never understood the helmet.
Or their AG. All the way down to their stupid school. That, let's see. So you got all these, it's funny because you look online, especially on Twitter or whatnot, you get people, the Big Ten would be nothing without Michigan. Let's look at the last 20 years of, let's see, UM, OSU, all time. I'm not going to go here.
Yeah. See, I grew up with University of Texas and Texas A&M in that rivalry.
Right. Okay, so let's see. So, granted, Michigan has beat Ohio State the last 2 times, right? They've done well. Last time they kicked their butts. Okay. They also won very, very crappily. Like they started planting flags on the field and being just complete losers. Even in winning, they're freaking losers. Well, let's look at before that. How many did they win before? Let's see.
How many did they keep the game close?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ohio State won 8 in a row prior to that. Then Michigan won 1 back in 2011. And Ohio State won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So don't tell me that, the Big Ten is all Michigan. Because
it seemed to win about as often as we change presidents.
Right. So that argument is ridiculous. So now the Big Ten has stepped in. So the NCAA is investigating Michigan. The Big Ten, the league that Michigan plays under, has stepped in prior to the NCAA offering any penalties or
sacrificial lamb.
Yep, and saying you are suspended for, it looks like the rest of the year, remainder of the regular season. Harbaugh and the university, however, requested a temporary restraining order in Washtenaw. See, even their counties are stupid. Washington,
It's a.
I'm kidding. In trial court on Friday night, like they filed an emergency ex parte motion, which, if granted, would give the judge the ability to stop Harville's speech. How are the court's going to step in and stop us? Yeah, okay, that's ridiculous. And so, I think the NCAA is going to come down really hard on it, because you're right. It wasn't the stealing of the signs; it was them sending people to scout the other teams. And I mean, the NCAA should do away. They should let the coaches and the quarterback talk. There's no reason that in 2023 we can't have communications between the head coach.
And you can do it like the NFL. Say, like, I think it's at 15 seconds to go on the play clock.
Right.
Then it's cut out.
It's cut off. Right.
But so they're either sending the signals in, which to me, offense, it's just stupid. Because they prefer you use a messenger guard or something like that.
Right.
And that way you just go in and you audibly tell the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, sometimes, or a lot of offenses, you don't actually huddle. So
most of the time, yeah, if you watch Ohio State, a lot of they're going to the line.
Yeah.
They're going right to the line. They'll either speed it up,
mm-hmm.
or they'll go to the line. They'll line up in, because they won't change personnel, right? They'll keep that same personnel group on the field. Or even if they
probably
do change,
formation.
even if they do change, they'll go to the line, and then they'll get those signals in and they'll readjust.
Yeah.
Right. Or even when they change personnell, they might not huddle. I mean, you might not
see
the
same base formation.
Yeah.
Power eye or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, it's.
I'm sure it's not power eye.
Yeah, it's a lot of times it's spread.
Yeah.
It's a lot of spread now. But yeah, there was a lot of speculation as to whether the Big Ten would step in and suspend Harbaugh. But they have taken that step, and so they've taken the step to come in, suspend Harbaugh, and that is a big step, because
do you think Michigan still pays him while he's suspended? Because it's not the Big Ten paying him.
No, I think so. I think so, because I think they just gave him a raise, and they gave him a new contract. So Big Ten explains penalty for Michigan. Oh, I didn't stop sharing. And it's froze.
13-page letter.
13-page letter. Big Ten explains penalty for Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, and 13-page letter. Wow, that's a big letter. They must have a lot of evidence in the letter, which is addressed to Michigan athletic director. The sign stealing scheme allegedly organized by former Michigan is termed as an organized, extensive, years-long, in-person advanced scouting scheme that was impermissible. That's the problem. It was the in-person sending people to scout other teams. Later in the letter, Petiti wrote that evidence gathered by the NCAA and corroborated by other Big Ten members leads him to believe that a significant portion of the violation has been proven, with details of scope, intent, and individual knowledge yet to be determined for potential additional penalties. That's the thing, too, is Harbaugh has said, I didn't know anything about it. Right? I had no idea that any of this was happening. However, I'm pretty sure that the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the other coordinators had a pretty good idea that something was going on, because they were definitely using this guy. I mean, they're like, I think
maybe he's just an empath.
Mr. Connor is like ESP or something, because he can read their mind. I don't think
he's just got a great football acumen. He understands. He can tell by their formation what they're going to call.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't believe how accurate Mr. Stallions is.
All he does is stare across the field.
He goes into this kind of trance. I don't know.
He's watching a group of 4 guys. Concentrates on one really intently, and then guesses right 90% of the time. I mean, I could see defense because really all you're calling in is the coverage and the stunt.
Right.
And you need one guy for that. And in high school, we would change our defense or our offense every week.
Right.
I imagine college is doing it just as often.
No, exactly.
So
I was going to see if I could find an example of
but of course, high school
Football
and college, you get it a bit too. Just some weird offenses. Like we had one school that did double trips.
Oh, yeah?
You're thinking about that with your number of eligible receivers.
You had what now?
Double trips.
You had 6 receivers on the field?
No. They were lined up like receivers, except the inside guys were tackles.
Okay.
And then if you do a quick screen, you already got a tackle out there.
Right.
You make the other receiver that's front tight end or something like that, and you basically got 2 linemen right there.
Right.
And it didn't work out good because over on the line, you've got 2 guards and a center. So you've got to get that ball out quick because the defensive ends and the defensive tackles and the linebackers can just run past 3 guys real easy.
Right. So here is Clemson. It looks like they use signboards.
Oh, geez.
So they're putting up signboards. That is, I'm not sure who that is, but oh boy. Oh wow.
Those are the actual signals they're sending in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, that's a lot of classroom time.
Yeah, right. And so that's another point too, is it's hard to change when you got to think about how these offenses are, right? These offenses are very complex, right? And they've gotten more and more complex over time.
Sure.
So you figure how these signs are coming in, whether it's on a signboard or whether it's 3 guys. And I was hoping to find some examples of it. I'm not finding. But you got 3 guys. You got 3 guys doing all this stuff here. Right?
Yeah.
They're swiping and
third base coach in baseball
and having conniptions. But so over time, these offenses have gotten so complex. So you learn these signs. It's going to be hard to change them up. Well, because you go through so much learning to put these signs in your head. So it's going to be hard to now change them completely because you're telling them everything from what route your receivers are running to what from your grouping to what routes you are to what blocking you're doing to what.
Yeah, if you're that complex of an offense.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's an RPO type offense.
Correct.
Right. See, like on defense, you're just really just doing the coverage and the stunt if you're going to have one.
Right.
And if you're not in base, or if you start out everything with base, then you really just got to call the stunt.
Mm-hmm.
And
right, it's more for the offensive.
For the offensive, it just wouldn't,
because
it just doesn't sound right to send in your offensive signals. Might as well be telegraphing your plays to the other side.
Right. Well, that's why they've got decoys. If
you're going to do it as simple as they were in the movie Varsity Blues, again, high school and a movie at that.
Right.
But when they were just like hook and ladder. Oh, wonder what that one is.
Oh man. But yeah, so the Big Ten has decided to go ahead and suspend Mr. Harbaugh.
Then again, the messenger guard isn't that helpful either because, you huddle about 10 yards back behind the ball, and then the guy comes into the quarterback who just ran onto the field, maybe huffing and puffing a little bit, and he's got to talk through his mouthpiece if he doesn't remember to take it out to tell the guy what the play is.
Right.
Who's going to whisper it now to the huddle.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got good enough hearing, you're going to hear that.
Right.
But then, of course, you're not going to know what 32 toss power wham is.
Right. Exactly. And who knows that he's going to remember it exactly. Right. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's just so much that could go
a lot of the
wrong with that.
nomenclature is the same, but a lot of it's different. You don't have to start your 3-2 hole is the same on every offense. So.
Right. No, exactly. So yeah, and I mean, this just happened tonight too. This whole
Okay.
suspension thing. I mean,
Well, I heard it'd been in the works, just checking headlines, but
no, it's happened. It's been ongoing for a couple of weeks that they've talked about this, but it is now
assuming some sort of court step in to.
Oh yeah, exactly. The court steps in and says, which I don't know what standing the court would have. Honestly.
Well, if they come up with some reason, the court's there to look at fairness.
Right.
And if they put up some argument, I could see a court thinking they've got the power to tell them. But then again, in that same token, I don't know what power the court would have if they just say, no, don't care about your decision.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a civil finding and civil decision anyway, so it's not like Mr. Big Ten's getting arrested or.
Yeah. No. Right. Exactly.
But then again, the court's supposed to be a co-equal branch of government, so you would think they should have some power to enforce, but I've seen not lately with a few things.
All right. Well, in other news, I was just in Ohio, and
smelled the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. And then they had a we're either having an earthquake, or the windows are rattling, or there's a big truck going by.
Possibly the snowplow, the big truck, but I'm not seeing the flashy, blinky.
I know. I didn't feel an earthquake, though.
You did?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah. No, I did not either. And all right.
Oh, there you go.
So they had an election like a day after I left.
Yeah. What for?
I'm going to show you. They had, it wasn't, well, the big thing that they did was Ohio had finally legalized weed.
I heard about that. I did. It already some out-of-state businesses are moving there.
Yes. So Ohio certainly wasn't the first state to legalize recreational cannabis. 23 other states have done so since 2012. But the Buckeye State's arrival on that list could also be quite consequential for the growing industry. Ohio voters approved a legislation measure Tuesday, just a month after cannabis saw some of its most significant movements at the federal level. Late August, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services official recommended that marijuana be reclassified as a Schedule III drug. Good. So
a little more factual.
A few years ago, I know Ohio has been prepped, I think, to legalize weed. A few years ago, there was a ballot measure that they put up, but the ballot measure basically said, okay, we'll legalize marijuana, but only these certain companies can grow it. So it's like, well, wait a minute.
Why did they get a penny?
Correct, because they're the ones that paid to have
They're the ones that lobbied for this law.
Correct. They lobbied. They got the people out to put together the petitions and get the thing signed. But it was a horrible legislation, dude. It was so awful. I mean, basically no one else could get into the
new industry they're starting
or selling, like growing or selling, except these specific companies. Like, I'd have to go back and look. I don't think it said these specific companies in the legislation. However, the legislation set it up that only these certain companies would qualify. So they made qualifiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then only these certain companies would qualify for being
Wow.
able to.
Let me get it.
Sorry, we're making noise here. But yeah, so that's kind of that's one of those things that just you expect from shady damn people, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it is just shady people that try and pull this stuff. But Ohio now officially has.
Yeah, I remember it was a gay marriage vote in the 90s in Hawaii. And whatever English major lawyer was able to craft that question on the ballot just had, a no vote meant you were for gay marriage and a yes vote meant you were against it. And it was just, like your no vote meant yes was the way it worked out.
Right.
And it was just worded.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So they kind of talk about it here. The voter approved recreational measure approved this week is far afield from early legalization efforts in the state. In 2015, residents overwhelmingly voted against the medical and adult use measure that would have limited growing and sales to 10 properties, all of which were owned by an investor group. So that's what they did. They limited it. You can only grow on these properties here.
Oh, so you had state
And
weed.
so, yeah. And those properties just happened to be owned by this investment group that included 98 Degrees boy band leader Nick Lackey.
Nick Lachey.
Oh, is that how you say
Lachey,
it?
yeah.
How do you know that?
Oh, he actually had a restaurant in Cincinnati called Lachey's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
he's an Ohio kid.
Yeah, no, he's a Cincinnati kid. He's
okay.
a press box or suite owner at
Right.
Paul Brown or Paycor Stadium. And I forgot what band it was. I think it was 98 Degrees.
98 Degrees, right?
Yeah. I don't know the rest of the band or much less about it. I just know that he's from the area and debatably famous.
Gotcha.
And since the band, he's been spending his money with these different business adventures, the restaurant, what have you.
Okay. Sounds like he was trying to get into the weed business too.
Brand new industry. It's if you owned a forest when the paper industry first started up.
Right. No, it's a growing. I mean, it is one of the fastest growing industries in the entire country, with the states that have legalized it. And
well, hell, you don't have to advertise. You don't have to create a market. The market's there.
Right.
People already know. It was so taboo, growing up that if you had never tried it and you're about to with your job, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't take much to talk anyone into trying it now that it's legal.
Right. Yeah.
Especially when it's not the same thing with rolling a joint and, that kind of pungent smell that takes over your whole apartment, when it's so common to put them in food items and whatnot.
No, exactly. I mean, you're seeing a lot. There's so many different things now. I mean, food item wise, and outside
of the psychotropic, I'm more excited about hemp and hemp production.
Yeah.
Exactly. We could end deforestation worldwide just on hemp alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because it's a lot easier to grow a field than is a forest.
No, totally. Yeah. Well, and then
these farmers were paying to not grow food.
Right.
They could grow this instead.
They could grow this instead, and it would be a huge cash boon for them. And,
mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. No, there's benefits. And then, I know people that are into the whole culture of it. And that's what it is now. It's a culture, because you've got all these different ways of partaking now with edibles, and then with the different extracting things that they've done with the shatter or whatever, and then got little.
I remember
the high THC stuff.
They brought some shatter and some other stuff at the one near my house, and I tried a couple different things, but after a while, it's like, doesn't feel like I'm smoking weed anymore. Kind of starting to feel like I'm doing drugs.
Yeah, right.
What do we got to do? The chemical process, this and that. And I'm like, so you've got a clear glass pipe I put this in? What?
Yeah, right. And you're supposed to break it up into little pieces and put
You
it in a
freebase
thing,
the
and then
weed?
What? And then you burn it, really? But you don't. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not following
I'm
this.
not sure that's. And that weird skeleton looking dude actually wants more of it? I'm not sure.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's
the thing. Welcome to the party, Ohio.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
I wonder if Kentucky's going
so
to.
That's 24. So we're almost at half. We're almost at half of the states that have legalized.
I wonder if Kentucky or Indianapolis or Indiana. I mean, how soon they're going to fall on board. You figure Kentucky with all those tobacco farmers.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't mind a new product to grow instead, since tobacco's got this thing about it. No one wants it anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's still the South especially is still a Bible Belt. I mean, there's still
and that is
North
pretty
Carolina,
much
South
the
Carolina,
buckle.
Alabama. I mean, it is. It's full on. What else is in the news? What? This is the headline.
But Corvettes are still made in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Their floor. This is at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green.
Okay.
And a huge sinkhole opened up and took in pretty much their entire basement floor.
Oh my gosh!
And all these irreplaceable, $200,000-$300,000 Corvettes just fell to.
Right.
And what do you do with them? Well, you fix the floor, you crane those suckers out, and just leave them there and charge people money to come look at them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the other thing you could do, because you're not replacing many of these cars.
No, exactly.
Certainly not repairing them.
They got them out though.
Oh yeah, they said they craned them out and they repaired the floor and put them right where they were. They even had this painted line about where the floor fell out. So life gives you lemons,
Mm-hmm.
And Zach and I went there, and it was pretty neat. Just one year we went to AK Air, just opened up a counter in Nashville.
Right.
So we spent 3 days or so in Nashville. I think there was a concert he wanted to go to. Either way, rented a car and drove 4 hours to Cincinnati for the game. And on the way back, just time to kill to fly out, we stopped in Bowling Green and toured the Corvette place. It was really cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. I didn't realize there was that many darn versions of Corvette.
Oh. Corvettes have gone through a lot of different a lot of different changes throughout their history.
Well, let's say like the Mustang. I realize Ford and Chevy are two different makers, but the Mustang was always, kind of a two-door sports coupe. Not really a hot rod, not really a race car.
Right.
But it seems like Corvettes had every one of those versions.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. No, they've done full-on track race cars. They've done all kinds of stuff. I mean, I really like
my buddy Vince was a big Corvette fan, and
yep.
He, as a result, enjoyed working on his Corvettes.
Right.
That's what he seemed to do a lot. But he had a 78 Indy Pace Car edition, and he worked on that a lot because apparently the maintenance record on that car was.
Oh yeah, my dad had a 76.
But the radiators in there slanted because the shape of the hood, what have you.
Yeah.
So you take that radiator out, and you could stand in between the inside of the bumper and the engine because how much room it takes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, my dad had a 76, I think, Stingray.
Yeah.
when I was like 10 or so.
Did you get about the
Custom
same
paint-
8 miles of
custom
Galvin
paint
as?
job, T-tops, I think was beautiful. Oh yeah, it did. It got no fuel
Before
mileage.
Smokey and the Bandit, you could not sell a T-top Trans Am or Corvette in South Texas.
No. Oh, really?
Well, you'd be roasted alive.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it took that movie to make him famous enough for them to actually sell down south like that.
Right. He had a Chevelle too. I think it was like a 68 or a 69 Chevelle. It was only a couple of years old.
Yeah.
Let somebody borrow it, and he got totaled at a red light.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah. And that was before. I think I was either just like very, very, very young or before I was even.
Remember Dad's car when I was a kindergarten age-ish? Had a green Pinto. And it was an ugly kind of pea soup green, kind of.
Right.
But Pinto nonetheless. And then he got into trucks, but never a full-size truck. Like a Ford Courier, Mitsubishi Mighty Max.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And they were still good haulers for trucks, but certainly not truck.
Right. No, exactly. So, saw this here. Do you remember the Alaska Airlines pilot who thought it would be a wonderful idea to turn the engines off on the plane in mid-flight?
Yes.
Well,
he's a high on shrooms.
He has made a statement. Alaska pilot speaks from jail. I thought I would wake up after trying to shut off engines mid-flight. An Alaska Airlines pilot accused of trying to shut off. There he is, right there. He looks pretty remorseful. He looks pretty sorry for what he did.
Trying to see if I recognize his attorney. It's not in Alaska. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, Multnomah. He's in Portland. Poor guy. An Alaska Airlines pilot accused of trying to shut off the engines of a plane mid-flight told the New York Times he was affected by psychedelic mushrooms he'd taken 2 days before.
2 days before. Those some strong shrooms.
Something's not right there. Joseph Emerson, 44, told the Times in a story published Friday he took the mushrooms during a weekend getaway in Washington to commemorate the death of his best friend.
That's how you do it.
He thought he was dreaming while commuting back to California in the cockpit jump seat of a Horizon Air flight on October 22nd. According to an affidavit filed by prosecutors, Emerson told investigators he had consumed magic mushrooms approximately 48 hours prior to the incident.
This gives shrooms a bad name.
I thought it would stop both engines. The plane would start to head toward a crash, and I would wake up. Emerson told the Times from a visitation room at the county jail in Portland, Oregon, where he is charged with 83 counts of attempted murder. Pilot said he never took mushrooms before and ingested them at the insistence of an attendee of the getaway. Oh, here, take these, buddy.
These will make you feel better about your dead friend.
Yeah. No, nothing bad ever happens. Emerson said he has dealt with persistent depression since 2018 death of his friend. At bedtime that night, he said he began to feel uneasy, as if his friends may hurt him. I felt fearful of them. Started to have this feeling that this wasn't real, Emerson told New York Times. Emerson said he began to worry about the safety of his wife and children, along with an estranged relationship with his brother. I thought of a lot of traumatic things in the time that I was like, am I dead? Is this hell? I'm reliving that trauma. Johns Hopkins professor Matt Johnson, who studies psychedelics among other drugs, told CNN last month it's unlikely would have remained in the pilot system 48 hours after took drugs, sometimes referred to as magic mushrooms. And that's what I'm thinking too. 48 hours is that no. It's not that going to be that long.
Cyclobin?
Silicone. Let's find out. I bet you we can. Watch this, Cappy. Pronounce. Hey. Ha. And oh well. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, US. Did you hear that?
Barely.
Okay. Psilocybin is what they're saying.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin. Okay.
Yeah. Learned that in health class.
Psilocybin's lingering effects, sleep deprivation, and existing depression could have created a perfect storm, Johnson said, in which Emerson was experiencing behavioral changes or derealization, which is a feeling of being detached from one's surroundings, as described as a movie-like or dreamlike state. So I don't think, I mean, if you take a bunch of mushrooms, then maybe.
The sleep deprivation, but only after a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just getting enough sleep last night usually doesn't lead to the hallucinating and whatnot. It's after about 3 days or so.
Yeah, right. On the day of the flight, which departed from Everett, Washington, his dreamlike state persisted aboard the plane, Emerson told the Times. He texted a friend who dropped him off the airport. He was having a panic attack. Send love, I need to be home, Emerson said, he replied. His friend added, do your breathing exercises, which Emerson said he heard as a text-to-audio message in his earbud. That's when he threw off the cockpit headset and yelled to the pilots for help. When nothing happened, Emerson said he pulled the shutoff handles, convinced he was imagining the whole thing. While cuffed by a flight attendant in the back of the plane, Emerson said he sent several texts, including one to his wife. I made a big mistake. Yeah, you did. You absolutely did. Emerson,
I don't think mistake's correct.
No.
Yeah, that kind of implies you were going to do the right thing, but
Oh, right.
chose the
yeah,
wrong
no,
thing.
you chose the wrong thing. Yeah, no, mistake's probably not the correct.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
you're colorblind, and they said cut the red wire, and you cut the blue one because it looked red to you. That's a mistake. Like shutting off engines in a flying plane when there's no real reason to shut the engines off.
More than a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made some wrong decisions.
That's a decision. That's a wrong decision. Emerson told the New York Times
Committed an illegal act
while in a detention room at the airport in Portland, where he struck naked, urinated on himself, and tried to jump out a window in an attempt to wake up.
Hey, if that's what your alarm clock, man.
I guess. Emerson told the Times he wants to be transparent. He never intended to hurt anyone. He had been struggling with lingering depression and silence, fearing he could be grounded from flying. Whoa, you're definitely grounded from flying now.
You're probably grounded from going outside of public.
I don't know if I'll ever fly an airplane again. No,
you'll ever fly in an airplane again.
Exactly. Dude, you're going to jail forever. You're not going to get out.
Yeah, you'll fly in an airplane as they fly you to your next federal prison.
Right. That's where you're going to be in the next airplane. Going to federal prison for the rest of you. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, it is the legal system. God only knows what can happen there.
Liberal Oregon, you know.
It could be. So there's, I mean, on the topic of psychedelics and everything, there has been a lot of experimentation recently with, and you probably heard about microdoses, right? Microdosing. Have you seen any of that
term?
stuff?
Not confident what they mean by it.
They're talking about taking like small amounts, very small amounts of psychedelics, including like acid. What's the scientific term for acid?
I know it's not fry balls.
That is not the scientific thing. It is
LSD.
LSD, yes. Thank you. LSD.
We've seen the sky with diamonds.
So, but using that to like study of LSD microdosing doesn't show a therapeutic. Okay, never mind. I thought they'd actually gotten some
like found some sound reason to
some therapeutic effect with people with like mental health issues or whatever. So
I've seen some advocates for mushrooms talk about take them but in small amounts, sort of, like to take the edge off sort of bit, that sort of mentality. And I don't get my hands on mushrooms often enough to really try that out myself. So
No, I mean, I would.
And
Yeah.
it always seems something like that to me is something, you know, you got to have the day off and be at where you're going to be.
Right.
Because you start that roller coaster and now you need to go to the store to get the eggs. You're not getting the eggs.
You're not getting the eggs. Those eggs are not getting themselves
Yeah. So
either.
if you got to bake a cake with them later, you know.
Yeah. I was gonna say. So yeah, it looks like this one thing, psychedelic microdosing, is a rough patch in clinical trials. So maybe it's not the best thing. The CIA sure thought it was. Oh wait.
Oh yeah. Well, the government's done a few things, a few communities that we don't really.
Exactly. They
where's the one? Was it Tuskegee? Where they just like gave half the town syphilis but didn't treat it just to watch.
Right. You know,
did we really need the study of untreated syphilis to know it's a better idea to treat the syphilis?
Mm-hmm. But they always have our best intentions.
Of course.
The government, your government always has your best intentions.
Despite their own actions and statements.
Despite the things that they've actually done to show otherwise.
And told you.
They always have your best interest at heart.
They hit Corpus Christi with some sort of gas in the air. I can't remember. But yeah, it was a pretty bad one.
What was it? Oh, corporate. Okay. The government doing something real quick. Yeah. No, they've so the zinc cadmium sulfide was, so there's something here. Toxic assessment of the Army zinc cadmium sulfide. Zinc cadmium sulfide. Here, I'll see what it is here. Not remove. Add. Zinc cadmium sulfide was a compound that was dispersed over Minneapolis, Fort Wayne, Corpus Christi, and many other locations in the United States and Canada to obtain information that the Army used to estimate the potential dispersion of biological weapons in various environments to determine the quantity required. Yeah, okay.
It was decades before the people found out.
Yeah, right? Let's see what this says. Cold War chemical tests of American cities were far below dangerous levels. Sure.
Yeah, we believe you.
Yeah, we totally believe it. A series of secret tests conducted by the U.S. Army in the 50s and 60s did not expose residents of the United States and Canada to chemical levels considered harmful. Mm-hmm. The government secret tests that on you were not harmful according to the government. Oh my. The U.S. Army released chemical compounds, zinc cadmium sulfide, from airplanes, rooftops, and moving vehicles in 33 urban and rural areas as part of the Cold War effort to test the way biological weapons might disperse under different conditions. It's chosen because its particles are similar in size to germs used in biological warfare, and because its fluorescence under ultraviolet lights made it easy to trace. Oh my God. Gotta love the government. Because if you don't, they'll come after you.
An average sized male could. Well, what about a minor?
Yeah, right. You said one more thing. You said there was an ATF court ruling today. Oh yeah, here we go. From the Hill Appeals Court. Why do I keep picking that one?
Yeah, they not allowed to legislate from the ATF.
Appeals court said ATF exceeded authority with ghost gun rule. No way. Federal appeals court struck down the Biden administration's limit on so-called ghost guns, affirming a lower court's ruling Friday that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives did not have the proper authority to change its rules. Yeah, no kidding. The ATF rule change specified the definitions of firearm and other terms in order to regulate production and distribution of gun parts and kits, which could easily be assembled by a consumer at home, avoiding regulation and requirements for serial numbers. So there was, and I have to look it up. I want to look it up for next week. There is a guy that made like little
A bunch of
cards.
receivers.
A bunch, yeah, but it was like a card. It was like a metal card, and then you like pulled this piece off of the card, and you could use it for something. But they said that was a machine gun.
Yeah.
The card itself was a machine gun, and he is in prison still for that. And I will research that and find it out.
I thought you were talking more of a happy story on a gun buyback program. A guy with his 3D printers just printed a ton. All the filament material he had to make and printed a bunch of receivers and just took those to the police department for their buyback program. Yeah, this is a gun.
Made more
this
than
is a gun.
he spent
Yeah.
on the whole thing.
Yeah, took it to the bank.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, it's the city that's paying this kid,
Yeah,
but it was
exactly.
their own stupid rules used against them.
No, I will have that for next week. I got to research that because there is a guy who went to prison, still in prison for printing out cards. I mean,
Crazy.
It's so crazy. All right. I think we're done for this week.
It's over an hour, yeah. Look at us. We went the distance.
We did. We made it.
Oh, hey, we
made
got
it
some
through.
comments here.
Yeah.
Sorry for bothering you. I want to offer you promotion for your channel. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That sounds like an ad.
It definitely is.
Well, good on you. Thanks for
Thank
watching.
you. Thanks
Another
for coming
viewer.
in. Oh, it's also from Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Streamrise
Yeah.
RU. So
Have a vodka on me, buddy.
that would be Russian. So, all right, folks. Thanks for hanging out. We do have a couple of viewers, though. So
Yeah, look at that.
look at that. So
Two
that
per
is awesome.
one per platform on two different
No,
platforms.
exactly. So I like it.
Yeah, all right.
So we're growing. Woo!
Bring it on.
All right. We'll see you next week. We'll be here.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Have a good one.